Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fourth and Long podcast, episode 2. We're going to get into a wild week 6 in college football, give out some helmet stickers, and debut our new segment called Love 'em or Hate 'em. Jacob, we have a special guest to get started. Why don't you introduce him and we'll get going?
Hi, everybody. Tonight we have a special guest. His name is Harold Nash III from the defensive back from the University of Memphis. How you doing, Harold?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Really, nothing to complain about right now. Except it's getting cold up here, so I don't really like that. And the other thing I told you, remember, you guys, or Jacob, you know a little bit about my condition, and everything like that. I also didn't tell you that I've had a hernia for 9 months, and it's so bad. I hate it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Let's go. Go right into it, man.
Harold, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to start off?
I'm Harold Nash III. I played safety at the University of Memphis. Right now I'm a redshirt freshman, so it's my second year. I've started to move up, in the ranks a little bit. Started to get some playing time on special teams this year. So, it's been starting to look good for me right now.
All right, yeah, absolutely, man. So, I guess I'll start out right now. The question everybody asks. So you were there last year, correct?
Yeah.
How much do you hate Mike Norvell?
I don't hate him.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Don't worry. But obviously with the COVID and the virus going on and everything, obviously it's changed. You've seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. And it's happening in the NFL, and Florida just came down with a huge virus outbreak tonight. So it started last spring. Were you doing spring practices or anything like that?
I know in January through about the start of the summer, we were all in quarantine, so we couldn't really be around the facilities. They didn't want nobody anywhere near it. They want us all back at home, just trying to stay safe and all that.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. I mean, that's just gotta kind of mess everything up. So when did you? I guess I'll ask, and then Jacob, you can get the next one. When did you officially get onto campus and start practicing or anything like that?
I would say about June. June.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Jacob, go ahead.
I was wondering what precautionary tasks do you have to do on a daily basis because of COVID? Does that consist of, getting tests every 2-3 days, starting out before practice or after practice? Kind of take us through your kind of daily routine.
So, when I first get there, before I actually walk in through the door, we got to fill out a little questionnaire asking if we've been around, have we been in any places? Do we feel any symptoms? Stuff like that. And then after that, we gotta walk in, get our temperature scanned. Then after we gotta get a little hand bracelet, just to let them know that we've been scanned, we've been cleared, we can walk around the building. But and then once we get in there, we gotta have masks on at all times. Make sure extra precaution. And but other than that, that's usually the day-to-day thing, but we actually do have 3 times a week we gotta get tested for COVID, with the nose samples.
Dude, those are the worst tests ever. I hate them. They shove that what is it?
Q-tip.
Q-tip straight up into your nose, into your brain.
Yeah.
So that's gotta suck. But so I guess one of my questions is going to be have anyone or any of your teammates, have you guys had an issue with had anyone break out or anything like that?
There was a point, I don't know how it started, but we got a couple guys caught it, it kind of, then a little bit more caught it. I know it was a big talk Memphis. I forget how many guys, but right now, right now everybody's back, but
yeah,
I'm missing some guys, especially some.
Yeah, I got you. Jacob?
I was just wondering, with everything kind of you guys going on the road and stuff, kind of 2 questions here. What is it like playing in a stadium with none or little fans? And with having to travel, are you afraid to fly with, contamination being what it is kind of on these planes?
Well, we do actually take a little more precautions. Our coach, he's really serious about this. He's definitely trying to make sure, we all stay safe. So they actually gave us some these like special types of masks that I forget. It's like surgeons wear. It's a really good mask that he said. Just like make sure we have it. Like we have to have it on the entire time we're on the flight. Like when we get off, when we get to the hotel, anytime we leave our room. So
Yeah, that's kind of nice. I mean, so I know you guys were idle this past weekend, right? You
yeah.
weren't playing anybody, yeah. And then before that, go ahead.
Oh no, I was about to say the weekend that just passed, we actually played SMU, but before then we were actually out like 2 weeks.
Okay, I mean, I have a bone to pick with you guys playing SMU. I bet the over in that game. I mean, it should have hit in the first quarter. Like, what the hell, man? You guys decided to play defense then? But yeah, no. But so like, I know in the American Conference, it's kind of a lot of like close. But like, I know you guys travel to Cincinnati. Would you guys fly there, or you take a bus?
Oh no, we were flying. It's gonna take too long to drive.
Yeah, I got you. I agree, but I mean, I've never liked flying. Actually, when I was like still in high school, I went to visit South Carolina for I was gonna go to school there, and on the way home, our flight caught on fire, and we had an emergency land. The cabin was filled with smoke and everything, and I was like, "Oh my god, it sucked." But so Ryan Silverfield's the new coach, right?
Yep.
And what do you think of him so far? I mean, don't obviously go into anything you don't want to say, but obviously, I mean, he seems like you guys have been in every game you've played, and so
Well, I'd say Ryan, Coach Silverfield. No, he's a great guy, man. He definitely shows compassion towards us. He cares about his players. He's always dedicated to us. He's always looking out for our best interests. But he's definitely stepped up. Like he stepped up into the role of head coach. I think he's done that very well.
yeah, I mean, you can see, but yeah, that's always tough having a new coach. So you were there last year with the Mike Norvell. What are what are the main differences between Coach Norvell and Coach Silverfield? Silverfield, I'm sorry.
I would say not much. There's not really much of a difference. It's just Coach Silverfield. He has a different way of coaching. It's like Coach Norvell is a little more. I wouldn't say more strict. I would not say that, but I don't know. He just gets it's like a different vibe. That each coach off.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I played sports. I'm only 5'6", but I played sports in high school. But Jacob, you got anything?
Yeah. Kind of going on a more personal note. Would you say? I know you came from Massachusetts. We played together a little bit in high school before you moved to Michigan. Who would you say is the best player you've ever played with? And kind of give me, your top 5 safeties of all time or college defenders you kind of look up to model your play after.
Good question, Jacob.
Good question.
I wonder who wrote that.
It was one of my questions too. It was in the outline already.
I played some good players. I know Jacob definitely remembers Kobe too.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I remember he was being not real nice. But him, we had some good guys. Like when I first came over there, we actually had a linebacker that was committed to Michigan named Josh Ross.
Yeah.
We had some good corners that I actually played under. One dude went to Iowa State, the other one went to Bowling Green. They're doing good right now, and yeah, I mean they've been doing straight though. Those probably the best players I played with.
So I mean, to go on to off of Jacob's question, he kind of asked you like, who do you model your game after? I guess it's kind of really a football question, but like, what defensive scheme do you guys use? Are you guys doing a lot of dime and nickel, or are you really a 4-3 or a 3-4, 1 safety high, 2 safety high? Kind of, what do you guys run?
We kind of got like a different thing. We different schemes depending on who we're playing. Depends on the offense. Sometimes we might do one thing, then the next week we'll change the whole thing up, run something else. It really just depends on the offense we're gonna go up against. So we just gotta study, make sure we know who we're gonna play it against. We gotta wait the best to be able to stop them.
Yeah, that's a good answer from you because all your next upcoming opponents, if you would have told me which scheme you run, I was gonna make them buy it off me. So it's no big deal. No big deal.
I can't.
I know. No, I know. I mean, so I guess I have just a really simple question. I mean, how cool is it to like? Because I never did, Jacob. I think you do or kind of were going to at some point. How cool is it to go to college and like play a sport and obviously get your degree or whatever, go to the league? But I mean, you know what I mean? It's just like, how is it?
It's great, man. I mean, it's really just a big dream, living out a dream, I've always dreamt about, playing college football in front of thousands of people on TV. It's just really an honor just to be able to be in that type of situation.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So we one of our other writers we have in the comment. Can you see the comment section over here? It's on your screen. Can you see it?
Let me see.
It should be on the right side. It says comments. If you can't see it, but we have a writer that comes from Massachusetts as well, and he just said Harold Nash III is going to end up as a first-round draft pick by his junior year. I don't know. Yeah, that's some pretty lofty expectations right there.
Hey, I mean that's true. That's the goal, man. I mean that's what I'm trying to strive for.
I mean, I feel it. I feel it. I really don't have any that many football questions left. Did you want to? I mean, did you want to stick around and do the whole show with us? Because we're gonna do recap of last week and everything. I think Jacob said you might want to. It's always good to have an actual player on to tell us how dumb I am, really. So
It's cool with me. It's real cool. I know. Also, I know I know you mentioned something about bringing in talking about some other players I like. I modeled my game.
yeah.
Well, first off, the first one I want to start off with is the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Can't go wrong with Tyrann Mathieu.
I got to,
Yeah, he's. Go ahead.
No, I'll say I always watch his highlights before a game. Before practice, all the time.
I mean, that's a good guy to go to. I mean, he just is. He's a good safety, but he just has a nose for the ball. It always just seems to find him.
Oh, yeah,
It's cool, and I wish he still returned punts and everything like he did in college because that was awesome. Half the part of it was how awesome he was at that.
absolutely. I know he got good instincts. I know.
Yeah, I feel that. Jacob, you got any more? I have one more question, but
yeah,
Jacob, go ahead.
I just wanna point out, Harold. I know that's a bold prediction going first round draft pick for junior year, but your parents are gonna make you finish that degree. You got to get that degree. You got to get that degree before you go on to the league.
You can go back.
If I do get the opportunity to go, that's the opportunity I have to take. That's not an opportunity that comes just to anybody.
No.
If that does happen, I will still go to the league, but I will still definitely make sure I finish my degree.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you, and me and Jacob, I guess you must have forgot too, that one of the best things about coming on the show is if you do get drafted in the first round, you owe me and Jacob each 1% of your salary. That's it. You owe us 1%. Just think about it, and you're already locked in. But
I expect like a jersey. I feel like a jersey is at least like I'll take that as my 1%.
I got you on that. I'll give you.
So I have one last question, or two last questions. Jacob, you got anything before I go?
I would say my last question. I've never been to Memphis, but I've heard they've got some great food around there. What's the best meal that you've had since being at Memphis? Whether it be barbecue, anything else, some Thai food. I know there's some crazy things they do down there with some Thai food.
Yeah. Well, they got some spots here and there, in the area that I usually go to, like this place called Yums. I always get like a Subway sandwiches. It's like one of them Chinese foods and all that other type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean you're just a college kid, but still.
Cookout, get some burgers.
Oh, you guys have cookout? When I went to South Carolina, we had cookout too. I hated it. I didn't hate it, but like I would always go on like Friday night at like 3 a.m. after I'd had some fun, and it was always like 13 cars in the drive-through window. I was like, how can all of you be driving? Like, I just didn't understand it. But my last question is, have you met Penny Hardaway?
I've seen him. I've been like a few feet away from him, but I haven't like talked to him face to face.
I mean, I just think that's cool. I mean, that he's doing that now. And what's his name? Is that James Wiseman, basketball player, is going pro?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Cavs are. I'm from Cleveland, so I mean, the Cavs won't do anything good with the pick, anyways. So whatever.
You're not happy. I'll be happy about the Lakers win.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm actually totally cool with LeBron now. I mean, in 2016 when he won it for us, that was all I needed. And I even one of my articles that I wrote today that hasn't published yet is a letter to LeBron, and it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I can't be mad at LeBron. I mean, he's 35 years old now. Like, he'll come to the Cavs at the end of his career and just to play one game and he'll retire, Cav. So, but I'm okay with it. So if you're cool, Harold, we're gonna just hop into like our regular show. If you want to stick around, please do. But we're gonna go over like last week in college football, and then like we have some segments like we can explain to you, or you don't have to take part in it. But do you want to stick around?
That's cool. I'm cool with that.
All right. So obviously we had a wild week 6 last week in college football. So hold on, you want to do the first one, Jacob? I got to pull up the banner here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we had a kind of a huge week last week. We call the segment 5 Things in 50 Seconds. Starting off with, we had Vanderbilt versus Missouri as the first SEC game postponed by COVID. Kind of a big shock is the first big game in the SEC. Florida has 5 new cases before the LSU game. Tom Herman and the Longhorns are discussing singing along with the Eyes of Texas after games. We also have Bobby Bowden had to go to the hospital for COVID-19 case, but he has been reported as doing well. And then Oklahoma State versus Baylor has also been postponed for a later date. So Justin, if you have any thoughts on that, or we can just kind of go into the next segment.
I don't have really any thoughts. I mean, it's just kind of like I mean, every day it's something new with the virus. Like it's something new. I mean, Florida just had an outbreak. I mean, it's got to suck, right, Harold? I mean, it's got to suck going on all year. I mean, you can't get away from it.
No, you can't, man. It's just, I don't know. It's just something we've never seen before.
Yeah. And with everyone trying to keep everyone healthy and not, I mean, I know they've said like if you're like I mean, obviously you have a better chance to survive if you're like a 21-year-old athlete. So I'm not as worried, but yeah, it's just weird. And then what else did I have a comment on? So yeah, the thing with Texas, I guess, like you know how West Virginia sings country roads after wins and everything. I guess it's called the Eyes of Texas, and like the whole school, like Tom Herman wanted to sing along after games, but the school is like poo-pooing it because it has like racial undertones, and they're like looking into the history of it and its meaning, and it's like, just don't sing the song, guys. Not a hard deal, not a big deal. You guys suck anyways. Like. But I mean, that's all I got for the news. But I mean, Tom Herman he's a weird dude. I just don't get him. So we'll head into the games. Harold, pop up whenever you want to. First, we're going to start with, what did I have up there? Yeah, I mean, Clemson. I mean, Clemson's. I mean, they're not going to lose.
No, they're not. I mean, it's gonna come close in like the national championship game, but they're going undefeated this year. There's no opponent that can really hang with them.
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is ranked pretty high, but I don't think they go to Chapel Hill too, and I just don't think they have any chance. I mean, I will say one thing though that's starting to like bring my Justin Fields hype back up for Heisman. Travis Etienne is going to start taking Heisman votes away from Trevor Lawrence, I think.
I mean, I remember when we first started our first episode, I said it, and everyone was like, "Why? No, I just can't see it."
That was
No one saw it coming. Trevor Lawrence has been
because
so absent.
you were saying his name wrong the whole time. You were
Oh,
like, me too.
okay, all
You
right,
said his name wrong the whole time. No, but I do
all right.
remember you saying that. Harold, you got anything on Clemson?
First of all, man, I gotta say is they've been led by a seriously good quarterback that's ever since he first came on campus, dude's been just going off. This is, I mean, he's probably gonna end up going to the league. Probably gonna go first round.
Oh, he's gonna go #1.
Yeah, he's going #1. I think he's the consensus #1. Unless, in the words of Justin, unless his arm falls off.
Yeah, he kept trying to tell me that if it hurts his knee or something, he's not going to go #1. I was like, dude, this guy's been going #1 since he was a junior in high school. But the only thing I have to say is I just, and I know I've said it before, Jacob, I'm so sick of Dabo Swinney. I'm just so sick of him. Like, he's a great coach, but I just cannot wait. And like the next 5 years, there's going to be such a harsh penalty on them for doing something terrible. And Dabo Swinney's going to be like, well, God wanted me to do it. God wanted me to do it. And I'm going to be like, get out of my face, Dabo. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, no one's going to touch Clemson. I mean, Miami kept it close for what, a quarter?
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame might have a chance, but you will have. I mean, Notre Dame's defense has not been, but their offense is running the ball pretty well. I think they might, depending on how these next couple weeks for them, if their defense can kind of buckle down. But again, that offense is just way too high powered, and you might be able to hold them down for a quarter or two, and then they'll just turn up the heat and just keep going.
Yeah, and the one thing that's kind of stood out to me for Clemson and Alabama, really, not as much last week, Alabama, but Clemson is like you had Florida. If you compare Florida and Clemson, like Clemson has an incredible offense and a very good defense. Florida has an incredible offense, but their defense is terrible.
Yeah.
Harold, you got anything, man?
All I gotta say is, man, if they're like when they play, I think it's obvious Clemson's gonna probably come up with a win. I would definitely say that, but I definitely think Florida. I mean, Florida, they're still a good school though. They're still a good college. They do have their flaws and all that, but they do like what they do well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's. But with everyone, I guess it's a question for you, Harold. Like, because I know I'm 28, so I know like back when I was in high school and playing football. Like spread offense and these no huddle offenses weren't around then. How much different is it now that everyone's running the spread and like defenses have to run nickel and dime all the time? Like how different is that? Like how many DBs would you guys have on the field if say it was like a 3rd and 12?
Again, I just say it just depends on the offense. Really, it like we study them. So we gotta know like what they finna do, like what routes they're gonna run and all that.
Yeah. Coach Silverfield did a good job teaching you how to do an interview because I have nothing to give to the other teams now, and that very disappoints me. And all right, so now we talked about Clemson. I mean, the Red River shootout, like it went from being a sloppy, terrible football game into the last 4 overtimes, and it was incredibly exciting. And now the Big 12's best chance at the playoff has got to be Oklahoma State.
Yeah. I mean, I know we'll touch base on this later, but Oklahoma State is just, they're outscoring opponent. Their average point victory margin is like 21 points. And their defense is holding teams late in games, which is, is going to be the deciding factor going into these late games with defenses not being able to stop teams in the first quarter, in the first half, or even the third quarter. It's just their defense somehow finds a way.
Yeah, I don't know. Harold, you got anything on Red River? I guess you have to call it the showdown now because the shootout's too whatever.
I don't know. It just seems like times change. Different teams get better opportunity, get better. They get more opportunity. So they better. But I don't know. With Oklahoma,
they don't play any defense.
Exactly. It can go either way, cause I know like they've been having a little trouble with the quarterbacks lately. That
Yeah,
what I've been seeing on Twitter and social media and all that.
yeah. They went. Didn't Rattler get pulled and then they put him back in? I think, but yeah. Oklahoma's always a fraud to me, and I kind of wrote it in my article recapping Week 6. To me, like the 4-team playoff, you're really only fighting for one spot, unless your name is Ohio State, Clemson, or Alabama. Like you're fighting for one spot, and that's just how it's been and how it's going to be. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm from Cleveland, so I kind of am an Ohio State fan, but they should have started playing a while ago. I don't know why it's taking them so long.
Yeah, because don't they have it's a 6-game thing going on in the Big Ten?
No, the Big Ten's doing like a full schedule, but just conference teams, and then no, the MAC is doing a 6-game schedule. Yeah, yeah. So I'll be following the MAC around hopefully this fall. We have a interview hopefully coming with head coach Sean Lewis of the Kent State Golden Flashes. But after the Red River Showdown, I'm not gonna lie. Najee Harris is a beast. He's gonna get his carries. I mean, 5 touchdowns. That was crazy. But they gave up 48 points to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I just really,
Again, their defense is really young,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of experience on that side of the ball. They're missing key defensive linemen that went in the draft last year, and their corner depth's not that great. They had that one stud, but their defense is just really young and it's inexperienced. And against these offenses that are high powered in today's day and age, you need experience to combat that. You can't really do anything to stop an experienced offense.
Yeah. Harold, you got anything on the what I was talking about?
No, I don't really have much on this one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, to me, this is a perfect Nick Saban football team. Like, you remember the days back when they had A.J. McCarron and quarterbacks were just their game managers. They were a game manager.
I mean, Mac Jones is leading the country in passer rating and is the second most accurate quarterback. It blows my mind. Now he's going to start getting Heisman votes as well. And it's just like, he's going to go to the league. He's going to be a perennial backup quarterback like Brian Hoyer, and it's just not going to turn out well.
What's up with this Brian Hoyer hate, man? He won. he gave the Browns a winning season one year. Let's not hate on Brian Hoyer too much.
One word. Last week's Patriots-Chiefs game, or 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago, Patriots-Chiefs game, absolutely chokes it in the final minutes of the second quarter, and then just. I will go into a rant all night with you on this, but I know we got to move on. It's just that's the one game I'm going to go to that just sums up his career.
You're just a hater, bro. You're just a hater. You got anything in Alabama, Harold?
I got not much to say about Bama. Bama's Bama. They always been a serious powerhouse. Because they always know how to recruit. They always know how to get the best players. They always know how to game plan right the best way.
Yeah, I mean, so I little question kind of related to this for you too. I would say so from 2000 or 2010 to I'll say 2015-ish, it was Bama's dynasty those years, and Bama's been good since then. But now, is it Clemson's dominance over Alabama's dominance, or is it Alabama's still the dynasty? Because I think Clemson surpassed them.
Well, I definitely think it's gonna be like a head-to-head thing going on between the two. Both again keep on getting the best recruits. They have some serious offense. They both got serious offenses, and then the defense top notch.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, Jacob, what do you think? You think it's more Clemson's time now, or still Alabama's?
I think with the way, especially this year, until Alabama's defense gets experience, and which is only going to come with time, I think this is Clemson's show to run this year. I mean, their defense, even though it's young, still has that experience. I mean, Brian Brees is turning out.
I knew you were going to bring him up. You love Brian
mean,
Reese.
Dude, him and Xavier Thomas are going to be dominant, and they're going to run that defensive line. Xavier Thomas off the edge with Brian Reese inside. I mean, I was very skeptic with Brian Reese coming out of high school. I watched this film. He was an animal, but the competition he went up with was not the best, but he performed at those showcases, and he's, I mean, a true freshman playing a good amount of snaps for a defensive line. And Xavier Thomas, I guess, has an underlying injury, which is why we haven't seen him a lot this year. But even his freshman year, he's played a little bit and showed really good talent and really good secondary moves off the edge. And I just think that's the future of that defensive line. And if that's the future of a defensive line, that's pretty stout. That's back-to-back number one overall players in the country. And that's just going to run that defense. They're gonna that secondary is gonna feed off their energy, and even if the corners are second, kind of second nature and don't really have a lot of experience, they're gonna feed off that energy.
Yeah, I agree. We'll just move on. There's a couple games, but I do want to get to. There's a couple games that I'm just gonna lump together and say something, and then you guys just give me your comments. But the last big game that on the schedule, I mean, me and you, Jacob, were super high on Florida after last week.
Yeah,
I was shocked that they lost at Texas A&M and that Kellen Mond isn't left-handed. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really think Texas A&M is that good, but then I guess that means Florida's not that good. I don't know.
I think that it comes down to is Florida. I mean, it was their third loss on the year, correct? Now,
for Florida,
yeah.
No, that was their first loss.
That was their first loss. Then yeah, I mean, I think it was just a setback week. I mean, you did see some flashes of, things that they continue to do well. I mean, Kyle Trask, the Kyle Pitts is gonna just keep tearing it up, but that team, I feel like, just had a setback week. I think this upcoming week we'll definitely see we'll touch on it on our Friday session, but we'll definitely rebound, and I think we'll come out with a chip on their shoulder and really turn up the heat and bounce back.
Yeah, Harold, I got a question for you. I just thought of this, man. Since you're safety, would you rather be in zone coverage, or would you rather be tight to the slot receiver and playing man to man?
It really just depends on. I mean, me personally.
I'm just kidding, man. Yeah, you personally though, like what?
Personally, me. It really doesn't matter. I just feel like I feel like I could do.
You feel like you can do both?
I can play both.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that. It just always wonders me because I know that like there's some guys that are just really good at man to man and man to man, and some guys are really good in like cover four, spread out. So I just I mean, coming from someone that actually goes against real competition, I just I feel like a lot of people guarding like Kyle Pitts. Do you know, Daryl? You know that is the Florida tight end receiver guy.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he has 7 touchdowns already at the end of the year. But I mean, if I was a safety or a linebacker that I had to guard him in the slot or out of the line, I mean, I would just be toast. He reminds me of he's a smaller version of Rob Gronkowski. He's kind of like a Zach Ertz, I would say, because he's not big and strong and powerful like Gronk. But yeah, all right. So I'm gonna go on, lump these together, and then we'll just tell me your thoughts on some of the stuff. All right. North Carolina finally looked like a good team this past weekend as they outscored Virginia Tech. I didn't think Virginia Tech looked that good. I don't think UNC is a top 10 team, especially if everyone's playing. But I like Mac Brown, and I like what he's done with that program so far. And I'm a UNC basketball fan, so I like that. I mean, the story of the week, really, the past weekend, and Jay, we talked about it before we came on. Did you know this, Harold, that Mississippi State quarterback this past week, KJ Costello, threw the ball over 70 times in the game, and they scored 2 points?
Wow.
I just cannot believe that. What about you, Jake? Like, how do you do that?
I don't know. It baffles me to think about it. I mean, throwing the ball 70 times and as you said, scoring only 2 points is like a statistical anomaly.
Yeah,
Like it
I'd
just
rather
doesn't
be.
happen. You on one play, you're bound to accumulate enough yards to get into an end zone on one drive. It's just a statistical anomaly to see it happen that way.
I read back into the recap of the game, and apparently, so they got 2 points for one safety, and they actually should have got another 2 points, so they would have had 4 total points. But because they got another safety, but the refs looked at it and ruled it his forward progress had taken him outside of the end zone instead he gets. So they should have finished with 4 points. Yeah,
Still, it's
Mike Leach is a weird dude, but I don't know, man. I thought after they beat LSU, who I'm going to get into a second, laid a hammer down on. But after they beat LSU, it was like, I mean, these guys, the air raid's going to work in the SEC, but I guess it just doesn't. So, and to piggyback off that, Jacob, you got something? You kind of said something.
No, I was just gonna say again. I was big on Costello coming out of week one. I thought it was, throwing for 600 yards for the first time ever. It was, it was like, okay, well, maybe we need to take notice, but you kind of see them slip away from that. And I think they need to get back to being able, throwing the ball 70 times is not realistic. They need to find a way to balance that offense out, but also their defense is not terrible, which is, again, an anomaly in this day and age with college football teams allowing the points they are. But their offense is really struggling, and depending on a quarterback like that after throwing 600 yards, every single game is not realistic. They need to find a way to balance that offense out with either a run game, throwing some shorter passes, or even throwing screens.
Yeah, I feel that. And I'll piggyback off of that on to, we all knew that LSU was going to take a step back. How can you not? You lose Joe Burrow, no Jamar Chase opted out. Jefferson's killing it in the pros. Clyde Edwards-Helaire somehow on the Chiefs and amazing too. But did you see the goal line stand that they couldn't get at the end of that game?
I watched the highlights from it, and it was just, to get that close and not be with a talented team still. That running back there is no slouch. He was really touted coming out of high school, and he was a sleeper on everyone, and he came in with a chip on his shoulder, and having to sit behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it's just he couldn't get going during the game, and you don't have any secondary targets, so you got to depend on the run. But not being able to punch it in, what was it, the 4-yard line they were on, I believe?
I think for third and fourth down, they were on like the 2.
Yeah, just with an offensive line like they have, that a lot of them came back. I know they lost their left guard, who is playing with the Seahawks now. To not even attempt to get a push there, it was just, I think we're going to see it sums up that LSU season. And it's going to be like, oh, we're almost there, but we can't get over the hump. I think that's just – and again, they lost, as you said, they lost those big players in Burrows, Jamar Chase ending out, Jefferson going to the league. It's just you lose big players like that when your identity was that a year ago. It's very hard to – especially with COVID now, it's very hard to find an identity. You kind of have to go in knowing you're going to run the ball, you're either going to have a balanced offense, or you're just going to have an air raid.
Yeah. You just got to find your niche in college football. Harold, have you ever played against like an air raid team? Or I guess SMU was an air raid team, wasn't there?
Yeah, they are. I know. Actually, we actually play this coming weekend. We actually play UCF.
UCF, yeah.
I know they're definitely a big air raid team. They love to throw the ball down the field. They love going for straight routes, deep.
Yeah, Can you do me one favor, Harold? Like, just please beat UCF. I hate UCF so much. Jacob will tell you, every time UCF comes up, I'm just like, shut up. They did that whole like they won the national championship, like
2 years ago, where it was like they went back-to-back undefeated seasons. We're the real national champs. Alabama's just a fake. Oh, they even took out a billboard and got rings that said national champions on it. It's just goes over the line. It's like, seriously, stop. You didn't play really good teams like even Alabama didn't face really good teams that year. But you're not facing top competition. You're facing subpar teams. So just stop.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's but
Let's move on. Let's move on.
yeah, and then I guess the last thing that I'm kind of been dreading to do and bring up.
Yeah, I know.
I guess Georgia must be taken seriously this year.
That defense has really turned up and kind of found their identity in being able to stop teams, especially some of these offenses that we thought were, holding Auburn to 6 points and being able to stop Bo Nix, which many thought was like up there with Justin Fields, Trevor
Dude,
Lawrence.
Bo Nix is bad. Bo Nix is just not good.
I know, but going into the year, everyone's like, he's in the top 5 for Heisman votes. And I didn't see it. I mean, that Auburn's been a disappointment this year. We'll talk about that another time. But Georgia is really starting to find their way, and especially on offense, being able to score points, which is something we didn't think they were going to be able to do. I mean, there's not really any big names on that offense.
Yeah, Harold, you got anything on Georgia?
I mean, Georgia's always been a good team, though. I never rule that out. I never ruled them out a bit like a competition.
Yeah.
I always think like when a team's gonna play Georgia, either Georgia's gonna win or it's gonna be a close game.
I feel. I mean, Kirby Smart's had trouble against Alabama and sometimes against other SEC opponents, and they have still kind of a question mark. Like at some point, they got to go to JT Daniels, right? Like they can't make the playoffs with Stetson Bennett as quarterback.
No.
I mean, maybe they can. I don't know, but yeah. So I apologize to everyone, and we should have taken Georgia seriously, probably when they beat Auburn 27-6. But all right, and then all right, we're gonna do 2 more segments. Harold, you can join in after we do it. I mean, you can do one too, but I did love them or hate them. What did I say? Pick one of each, right, Jacob?
Yeah.
All right, you go ahead and go first.
Well, this one I kind of went back and forth with. I hate him, coach. Again, I'm going to go with your man, Dabo Swinney. I watched one of his interviews and I turned it off within like the first minute. I really can't stand him. And a guy that I have to say that I love, I mean, Harold, I love you, man, but Najee Harris is an animal. I mean, only the 3rd running back in Alabama history to have 5 rushing touchdowns in a game. And we have the likes of Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry, who never did that in their college career. I mean, that's just saying something. And I was big on him coming out of high school. He was just a force. I mean, he had 2 600+ yard rushing games. And I just think he's going to be the next big running back in the league coming out this year.
Yeah. Like I said, you're wrong on that. He's not going to like the 2nd or 3rd round, but I mean, that's fine. There's just no reason to draft running backs that early, but he's a beast. I mean, Mississippi's defense obviously is terrible, but I'll start with I hate him, and I hate Mike Leach right now. Like I don't know if I hate Mike Leach or if I hate Starkville or I just don't like Mississippi State, but how can you score 2 points and still, I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. And I love him. I'm going to go with Kellen Mond this week, A, because once again, I learned he was right-handed, and B, he played a really good game against Florida. I mean, he controlled the ball. I don't think he might have had 1 interception, but I mean, and also for Texas A&M, I guess too. I mean, they're running. I remember the years when Johnny Manziel was there, and like those guys and their quarterbacks, they had no running back and no defense. And this year they have a pretty good running back in Isaiah Spiller, and then their defense isn't the best, but it looks like the SEC is now also becoming points driven league. So I never thought I'd see that. But yeah, so that's my love them for this week. And then Harold, do you have any, or you just sit out this one?
I'm gonna give.
You're good. All right. And then We'll do contender and pretender. I think we could have probably done this last week, but I think right now it's like Jacob. Did you read my article on the recap? I think I posted
Um,
Sunday or Monday.
I took a glimpse at it. I didn't really. I've been really busy with some personal things, but
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just saying it because like I remember I said in it, I was like, I mean, Alabama's clearly on a class of their own in the SEC West, and
yeah.
Georgia's on their own as a on the level of their own in the SEC East. So it's weird, but so a pretender that I have, I think, is North Carolina. I think they're ranked 6 now in the AP poll. I love Mac Brown. I love the Heels, but they're they're just not they're just not there yet. I don't think, and so yeah, you go ahead with now. You do your contender,
I'm gonna have to
pretender.
agree. I'm gonna have to agree. I had two up for this week for pretenders.
Okay.
I went between North Carolina and Miami. After Miami was a really big disappointment. I knew they weren't gonna beat Clemson, but I thought it would be a lot closer. But De'Aaron King only had like five total. They only had 210 offensive yards total, and De'Aaron King only accounted for I believe 5 yard total rushing yards. I believe. Um, and that team is really just, I think, hit a roadblock. I mean, they're going up against a Pitt team this week who is going to come out on fire after losing the BC in overtime. Going to North Carolina, I thought the big clear red light went on when they only beat BC by 4 points. And I'm from Massachusetts, and BC is a good football team, but if North Carolina is supposed to be telling everyone, hey, we're supposed to be up there, we're a top 4 team in the country, you can't, and I mean you can't lose, you can't beat a team like BC only by 4 points. And last
Yeah,
week their margin of victory was small as well against a team they should have. They allowed 45 points to Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech is depleted. They have so many injuries.
yeah.
And it's just I think that team is just way overhyped.
All right. Yeah, yeah. And for my contender, it I don't think I ever thought I was going to say this, but like Oregon's going to be a contender once the Pac-12 starts playing, because there's probably going to be no team from the Big 12 that can get into the playoff. Then I mean, Oregon's might be able to sneak in. I haven't looked at the Pac-12's like schedule. I think they're obviously playing only conference games, but Oregon's going to slide in there the first week they play, win, and then they're going to slide into like the top 8 right away, just with just everything going on. So it sucks that they've taken them this long, because if they had played the same schedule as like start when Ohio State starts, or like start at the beginning of the year, I mean, I think Oregon would be a top 5 team, because they play nobody, A, and B, the Big 12 has cannibalized itself, and even the SEC kind of cannibalized itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You have a contender, you said,
Yeah, I think Florida. I really think Florida
even
coming
after a
off,
loss.
even after a loss. I think with Kyle Trask being the way he is and playing the way he is, 14 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, only behind Texas quarterback Sam Etling, and with that duo with Kyle Pitts, I just think this team is gonna kick it in the second gear after that loss. They're gonna say everyone's gonna underrate us, everyone's gonna write us off, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna run with it. And they're just gonna run through everyone they face the rest of the year. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. That defense is going to step it up and play nasty football. They're going to play dirty some days, but they're going to turn it up and just go all out and make a push.
All right. Well, that's yeah. I mean, it's so hard to pick and choose between teams right now, considering there's no Pac-12 and there's
Yeah.
no
I mean,
Big Ten.
you don't have Ohio State playing Oregon, which are two teams that everyone wants to watch. So it's really difficult to make a decision at this point.
All right. So we're gonna cut this one. Harold, do you have a like a Twitter or anything you'd like people to follow you?
Yeah, I do. It's HNash.
HNash _3.
Yes, that's it. So follow me on there. Follow me on Instagram. HNash _25.
Okay. And well, we thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jake. Thanks for bringing him on.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Harold, again for coming on.
Yeah,
Say
man.
hi to your folks
Anytime.
for me.
Yeah,
Yep.
anytime you want to come on and talk about something, just let Jacob know. And I mean, we're always down to have people on, especially athletes that play and give us a different perspective. Because like it's really different right now. Like you're the athlete, and I'm the old lazy idiot that just knows everything but can't do those things. So it's awesome. But and I'll do a little preview for on Friday when we start recording. We'll look into next week's schedule. Obviously, the big showdown between Georgia and Alabama. That's one thing I will say about Georgia. Georgia's played their two toughest games at home. So going to Alabama is not going to be easy, but we'll look up at that, and then we'll get our predictions in there. You know, some best bets, and it should be good. And then next Tuesday, I believe we are going to have the Indians beat writer for the Athletic, Zach Meisel, but we're going to have him talk a little bit about college football because he did write 2 books about Ohio State. So we're going to I'll be interviewing him and possibly Jacob as well. We'll see. And but it'll be in next week's podcast. You can follow us at the number 4 THAND fourth and long pod. And then you can just go to BackSportsPage.com for all our archives and everything you need for college football. I'm going to force Jacob to start writing some articles about college football because you have to do something, man. You got to make yourself tired and you could sleep.
Yeah, that's true. Also, we are on Spotify now as well. Our episodes should be going up either the night or the next day. So be sure if you guys miss out on it or join late, you can always go back there and listen to our earlier shows.
Yeah, and Harold, we're obviously going to promote you, man. Redshirt freshman, going to be a number 1 pick as a junior. So, like I said, I'm going to be rich. You'll be a little bit richer. But yeah, we're always down to promote. Yeah, maybe show some of your teammates this stuff. And all we do is talk college football, and that's kind of like your life too. So yeah, I mean, like I said, anytime you want to come on, we're down. But and we won't ask you any more questions like how much you ate Mark Novell. So don't worry. But Harold, what time is it for you right now?
Right now it's 9:58.
Oh, so you're only an hour behind me. Yeah, it's like 11 o'clock for me. I'm in these California dudes. They're like, yeah, we could record at 7. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, I had to take a nap before we recorded this. I'm old and tired. But yeah, tune in to Fourth and Long on Friday, and we'll go over the weekend to good beat. And Harold, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you,
Feel
Harold.
free to come on whenever you want. If you want to talk about a big game for Memphis, you want to talk about something like that, promote it, just tell Jacob, and we'll get you on, and we'll get whatever you want to be promoted on. So thanks for joining us, man. That is the Fourth and Long Podcast, episode 2, with special guest Harold Nash III, a safety for the Memphis Tigers, and he will be joining us again, and he will also be giving me his money when he gets drafted in the first round. So like I said, everyone have a good night. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time for me, but we'll see you all on Friday. And like I said, have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone.
Y'all too.